else.
So Anthony Joshua had a very brief chat with Adam Smith of Sky Sports, and you can catch that on the Sky Sports YouTube channel, Sky Sports Boxing YouTube channel that is. And just to save you guys going over there, have a look for it. I shall put the video directly to it in the description box of this video. So as soon as you finish with this one, give that one a click, have a little listen to it, come back, drop yourself a comment, all that kind of good stuff if you haven't seen it already. So within this interview, Joshua spoke briefly about Usyk versus Bellew. Of course, that's going to be happening next weekend. And of course, on December 22nd, it was officially announced today, Derek Chisora and Dillian Whyte, the rematch. Okay, so he gave his thoughts on those scenarios as well. But he also said that he has a date on April the 13th, and he looked at the camera and was speaking directly to Wilder, which is, you know that we're ready, just be realistic in your negotiations. In other words, know your role. You are B-side for life. Be realistic. Don't outprice yourself like you did before. Don't waste everybody's time. Negotiate properly. But of course, Anthony Joshua saying this to Deontay Wilder, all kind of, it would appear anybody within the Wilder team, including a selection of his fan club, as in a lot of the channels, talking common sense to them is about as useful as buying a cock ring for a damn hamster. It just wouldn't fit, okay? It would just be totally pointless. So common sense doesn't seem to fall on that camp. So when you say to him, be realistic in your negotiations, you may as well be talking to a brick wall. Okay, they don't know what realistic is. They have this persona, especially Wilder, as over the last year or so, every thought that he's gone through, every time he goes to the toilet, every time he lays down in bed, he goes shopping, he goes to the gym, whatever it is that he's doing, Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua owns his soul in reality. So because of all this, Wilder started to slip a little bit. It's almost like he's starting to go mad. I don't know whether this is a persona that he's putting on, but he's doing it more and more regularly, where he's whispering when he talks, speak it, believe it, receive it, where he's actually starting to lose his marbles. Okay, and to the point where he believes by beating Tyson Fury, he becomes the A-side. He becomes the A-side in negotiations when it comes to Joshua. By beating a guy who's been inactive for 2.5 years, put on 140 pounds within that time, carried it around with him for 2.5 years, come back and fought Sefer Seferi, who's actually a promoter, not a boxer, and then Francisco Pianeta, who got knocked out by Kevin Johnson, a guy who Daniel Dubois previously fought, right? So, as I said, how on earth is Wilder saying that he is the A-side? I'm kind when I'm saying he's the B-side. B-side for life. To become A-side, you have to beat Joshua. Beating Tyson Fury does nothing. At this stage, I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury, but at this stage, it's pointless. Really, because Tyson Fury isn't ready. And I hope to be wrong on this one. I hope Tyson Fury's going to go in there and do an absolute number on him. I will be the happiest camper in the world right now if that was to happen. But reality is, it ain't going to happen. But as I said, I hope to be wrong. So Joshua telling Wilder to be realistic, he doesn't know what realistic means. He lives in his own bubble. He thinks that he's possessed by some ancestors who this third person comes out, the bronze bomber. Not the silver bomber or the gold bomber, but the bronze bomber. Why? Because he couldn't even get silver at the Olympics. In arguably the worst heavyweight Olympics in history, he couldn't even get silver. Okay? But regardless of all that, he's done well. Okay? He's been managed very, very well, as in cherry picking, sleeping in the shadows. 40 fights, man. 40 fights. And we're still asking him to step up. That's unheard of in the history of boxing. Isn't he an embarrassment to the heavyweight division? If you are American, are you not embarrassed looking at this guy? Of course you guys want to support him and you want him to be the A-side and you want him to be the real champion. But come on now. Come on. By beating Tyson for a lineal ship that doesn't even exist, it's a one-stop lineal ship. Vladimir Klitschko had it and it was broken from before him. So it's not even true lineal ship. Okay? Him being WBC champion, listen. He's defended that belt against people who don't deserve the title. They just don't deserve it. They don't deserve the title shot. I'm not saying that Tyson Fury doesn't, because of course he was former unified champion. He is the one who broke up the entire heavyweight division. So yes, he does deserve a title shot, albeit it's way too early. It's probably like 12 months too early, in my opinion, if at all. If at all. He doesn't look like the old Tyson Fury, but as I said, I pray to God that I'm wrong. If I'm ever going to be wrong on a prediction, please let it be this one. I want Tyson Fury to do it, because I think Tyson Fury would actually defend that title by giving it the respect that he deserves. It's a WBC title, the heavyweight title, the one that Lennox Lewis held, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and so on. And now this skinny-legged thing comes along and disrespects it. He even calls it Sophia. But yet he wants to be the A side. So yeah, Joshua saying, be realistic. This means know your role. I'm king of the castle. You are not. You are the jester. Beating Tyson Fury changes nothing. Changes nothing. Fact being, it's a 21,000 arena against Tyson Fury in Los Angeles at the Staples Center. It's not even sold out. It's not even sold out. After over a month, it's not even sold out. How is that even possible? In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Dillian Whyte vs Derek Chisora sells out before Wilder Fury does. Even though that Wilder Fury have had a month in advance on this one. Speaking of which, hey Frank, how's it going with StubHub? Is it alright? Cool. So, at 21,000, it hasn't even sold out. That's how big of a fight is. Look at the undercard. Garbage. Absolute garbage. And I'm being told by a lot of people today, that's going to be $85. $85 for that. Unbelievable, really. Unbelievable. So, anyway. But yeah, it's a big issue with the fact that Joshua against Povetkin didn't sell out 90,000. It only sold out 83,000. But that's a failure. But yet Wilder can't even sell out 21,000. In fact, in his fight before then, in his 40th fight against Luis Ortiz, a guy who 1 hour before the fight was failing the medical. He had to force that situation to get in the ring. They weren't even going to let him in the ring. Charles Martin and Dominic Breazeale were on standby. Charles Martin walked away. Dominic Breazeale still stood there to replace Luis Ortiz 1 hour before the ring walk. That's who Wilder beat. But regardless of that, it was a 19,000 arena, Brooklyn, New York, 14.5 thousand. That meant 4,500 empty seats. 4,500 empty seats from a 19,000 arena. Wilder, you are B-side for life, man. In fact, I'm being kind when I'm calling you B-side for life. So please, pretty please, with a cherry on top, with a sprinkle of sugar, whatever it may be, after Tyson Fury, please fight somebody with a pulse. Fight somebody who's ready. Now, I don't disbelieve that Tyson Fury in his own mind believes that he's ready. Because he does look at Wilder as flawed and very predictable. He said himself, Wilder has 2 punches, a left hook and a straight right. He's pretty fast on his feet, you know, we've got to give him that one. And he has a lot more heart than what I thought he did, which he showed against Luis Ortiz. Again, a guy who shouldn't have even been in the damn ring with him because he was failing the medical. Yet he was rocking the hell out of Wilder in round number 7, right? Rocking him. He needed the help of the medical team and the referee. Even the judges were getting ready to screw Ortiz had it gone a distance. But no matter what, just be realistic. He had first opportunity. He had first chance of fighting Joshua instead of Parker. He was given first refusal. 50-50 or no fight is what he said. Didn't want it, did he? Then this time round, he gets backed into a corner where Joshua actually sends him a contract with $15 million. $15 million. That's 7 times more money than he's ever made at his highest career payday. That is more money than he has made in his entire career combined. And that's crackhead money. That wasn't enough, even though he accepted it. But he didn't sign it because he didn't know the date and venue. Even though he knew that the fight was going to be next for him and Joshua. He knew it was going to be at the Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales. And he knew it was going to be the final week of October or the first week of November. So either this weekend just gone or the weekend just coming up. But yet he didn't sign it. Unbelievable. But yet people say Joshua ducked because, what, $50 million? $50 million that was coming out of BT Sport Frank Warren. That's where it's coming from. And anybody who knows anything about this knows Joshua cannot fight on BT Sport. It's impossible. Impossible. Unless, for example, I'll give you a scenario, Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is the mandatory for Anthony Joshua. They go to a purse bid. Frank Warren wins the purse bid. Then yes, Joshua has to go on BT Sport. But against Wilder, it's champion versus champion. That means it's a voluntary. So it was always going to be a no-go. So yeah, Wilder, please don't outprice yourself. Get in the ring, take your beating like a man, and sail off into the sunset. And hopefully we never ever see or hear from you again. Because that's what's going to happen. The minute he loses, hopefully against Tyson Fury, by the way, we're never ever going to see him again. All these little leech fanboys who just troll the internet with their hate will disappear. Go cling on to Errol Spence or whatever it may be. But leave the heavyweight to the big boys. Your hope, your one and only hope. He's a fraud champion, let's be real, he's fraud. He's never once stepped up, and he's not planning on to either. That's why he's fighting Tyson Fury. It's a cherry pick of all cherry picks right now. Before then, as I said, Luis Ortiz was failing the damn medical for high blood pressure. Before then, Bermane Stiverne, who shouldn't have been his damn mandatory. Bermane Stiverne. His last fight was against Derek Rossi, what, 18 months or so before then? And before that, it was Deontay Wilder, where he lost the title to Wilder. But Bermane Stiverne was the mandatory. He ducked Alexander Povetkin because he failed a PED test that turned out that he didn't actually fail it, by the way, and that's fact, you can go look it up. Because I know a lot of people want to cling on to that one, but in fact, no, that fight should have went ahead. And he fought Gerald Washington, he fought Chris Arreola, he fought Arthur Spilka and was getting tagged big time against Arthur Spilka. He fought Johan Duapa and was getting battered around from pillar to post and was hitting Duapa with his biggest shots, and Duapa was still coming forward. In the end, Wilder needed the referee to step in. Much like against Gerald Washington, the referee stepped in, even though he wasn't even hitting Gerald Washington, but the referee stepped in. He's probably the most protected champion in boxing history. Probably the worst WBC champion that there has ever been. And I'm talking about someone who has defended the belt more than once. Not someone who just got the belt and then lost it. At least Joshua, okay, so he won a bunch of belts that Tyson Fury had, but he had to go around and beat other people for it. People say Tyson Fury's the man who beat the man. Well, Joshua also beat that very same man in more spectacular fashion by knockout, dropped him to the floor 3 times, stopped him on the ropes. But people say, yeah, but Joshua, he hit the deck too. In round number 6, he went down, right? He got back up again, didn't he? And I know a lot of people who say that are Wilder fans. Well, Wilder got dropped to his backside and the bell saved him against Harold Sconiers. The referee counted to 8, he was all on wobbly legs, and the bell went. Saved him. Against Dustin Nichols as well. That wasn't ruled as a legit knockdown, but it was actually a knockdown, just that the referee just didn't count it. He was on wobbly legs against Eric Molina. Luis Ortiz had him out of there. The referee could have and should have stopped the damn fight at that point. Tyson Fury fans say about Joshua hitting the deck. Tyson Fury also hit the deck against who? Steve Cunningham, a cruiserweight. And against another guy who I can't remember his damn name before that. No disrespect to Tyson Fury. As I said, I'm a big fan of Tyson Fury. But just be realistic. So Anthony Joshua, He's right, be realistic. And I'm pretty sure there can be a whole load of Wilder fans out there jumping all over this. Great, Joshua spoke, we can make a video. We can talk about Joshua again, rather than just make up stories. Now we can actually talk about something that he's actually said, so we can get some views, so we can get some subs and some super chats and things like that. Because without Joshua, there'd be nothing. Literally nothing. All they do is talk negatively. That's all they do. Talk about Dillian Whyte, he ducked Luis Ortiz. Behave yourself. Talk about Joshua, he ducked Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder. Behave yourself. At least Deontay Wilder, well, I say at least, Deontay Wilder ducked Dillian Whyte, Alexander Povetkin, Anthony Joshua, Joseph Parker, Luis Ortiz for a long time, then got forced into fighting Luis Ortiz by Stephen Espinoza in Showtime. Forced into it. This is your guy. Anyway, all that aside, hopefully, Tyson Fury hits him hard enough that either A, he knocks out Wilder, or B, he knocks some sense into Wilder to actually take the damn Joshua fight and realise your role. If you want to be the A side, you've got to beat the A side. That's what Floyd Mayweather did, right? That's what many other fighters did. But you seem to think that you have some kind of celebrity status because you've got about 10 or 20 channels supporting you on YouTube. Have a word. Have an absolute word. Anyway, go give that video a watch in the description box for Sky Sports. And you can hear Anthony Joshua saying those words to Deontay Wilder. Be realistic with your negotiations. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.